Next up, we are going to be hearing about how embracing and incubating innovation and the best creativity of new startups can be supported by the depth of experience of a more established organisation like Zurich. Alex, if you could kick us off, what really does make a company stand out from the rest?
Do they constantly reinvent themselves? Do they create value for customers and for their business in a new way constantly? Right? Because every company has small innovations, but they don't constantly reinvent themselves. That's the hard part in companies today. And it's actually not about ideas, it's about supporting the teams and projects to try out things. And many of those will fail. So innovation happens bottom up with the top-down support.
I would say that from an innovation culture perspective, it would be two elements that are really important. First one is the mindset. Mindset, not just the leadership, but also the entire team. To be able to persevere through the ups and the downs. And at the same time, you need the culture and the team to also enjoy the risk-taking and the ups and downs in that journey.
It's not the leadership that picks the ideas. Again, the leadership builds the ecosystem. So as a leadership team, you're not going to judge the idea. You're investing based on how much evidence is the team bringing to the table. And you need to be willing, this is the hard part, to kill ideas. 1 out of 10 projects will succeed. And you need to, let me not call it kill, that's very brutal, successfully retire 9 projects. Executing ideas is what feels safe. But in innovation, it's not about execution, it's about adapting.
So you really need to make a culture where bottom up the ideas are flowing, and then in principle from the leadership team to say, okay, what are the boundaries and what are the rules here? And this learning quick, failing quick is, I have to say, really not part of the European culture. We struggle a lot to really kill something.
Successfully retire.
Successfully retire,
Yeah,
right.
correct.
Remember that when you get pulled into a meeting.
This idea of ecosystem that was brought up before. Do not forget about the internal capabilities. So Zurich, you see the 150 years behind us. So the expertise, the relationship, the market knowledge, that is a very strong advantage that we as a large company have. And working with startups, how we bring the two together into the equation, I think is a unique advantage that we can have by working together in that partnership.
Tell us as well about the biggest focus for your team right now to keep going with this innovation.
Make sure that we understand and focus on the customer problems that we're trying to solve. And at Zurich Global Ventures, that's what we're trying to do, not just paying the claims, but understanding different elements of individuals' life.
So always put the customer at the core of any problem and innovation. We've now got the opportunity for our audience to ask you some more questions.
I would be interested to hear if you are optimistic that we will see innovation that will help us achieve sustainability targets in our everyday life.
Some of you might remember we had an energy crisis also in the 70s, 80s. The barrel price was at $36, $39. And Switzerland made a lot of measures to bring down the energy consumption, specifically in buildings and these kind of things. And I think now we have the opportunity of a similar innovation push. I don't like to have a war in Ukraine. This is very tragic. But on the other side, it's also now a big opportunity to bring in acceleration in sustainability that we were missing for many years. The technologies are here. The innovation will be how do we implement them and in what kind of speed we are able to implement them.
I think sustainability is not a nice to have, it's a must have.
If we actually got the biggest funds together to invest in sustainability aggressively, things would change dramatically because the innovation is there. We have great venture capital funds, pension funds, and so are doing their job, but not enough.
The customer journey should be always at the beginning. Are we really good at it?
I absolutely agree that needs to be at the front, and I think we need to be very diligent about that.
And if you ask what could be, you're going to explore multiple possibilities. But if you don't ask what could be, you're never going to innovate as much as you could.
Fascinating. I mean, what a brilliant way to end the session. I think leaving us with lots of inspiring thoughts, lots to think about as well, and lots to question. So that pretty much brings us to the end of this edition of Zurich Talks, Future Innovation. Got to say a massive, massive thank you to all of our guests. Thank you for joining us as well. So hopefully you're going to leave feeling inspired, optimistic, and excited about the future. And that's a big, big thank you and goodbye from me. Thank you very much.